Went from condos to Pop's house. On calls now bus routes.
All right, N2S family. So our next topic, we have LACREA. You know what, man? I feel like I owe LACREA one. You know, the last video I did about LACREA, I got on him, man. I got on him. Not as much as Marcus Rogers. I didn't go in like that. But I did go in a little bit. So I was like, you know what? I want to talk about what LACREA got going on. And he just did an interview talking about his new album that he have out and being on tour. And also he talked about reconstruction in the church, right? In the church today. A lot of positive things. And I want to just play what LACREA had to say, which he had some good thoughts and everything. And you know, it's also to show support, man. LACREA is out there. No matter what, if you listen to his music is definitely Christ-like music. Now, LACREA have dabbled in some worldly music, but that's not what this is about today. We talking positive about LACREA today, all right? Because he's doing some great things. He's doing some great things for the faith, and I love seeing it. So we're going to stay on the positive side today with everything we got to say about LACREA. Look at your boy rhyming, man. Come on, man. Come on. So let's check out some of this interview, and then we'll talk about it a little bit.
Describe this album. This is your 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So we're go back to 1 to now. How would you describe what's happened?
This is a mature man. This is a man who has a lot to offer, but I wanted to capture zeal because I think my younger audience has a lot of zeal. Sometimes it's just misguided, it's misdirected. And so instead of like using that zeal and passion to be destructive, I wanted them to be constructive. What can be reconstructed in your life? What can be transformed? What are the areas that you're passionate about? Because I think we see a lot of people church hurt. We see a lot of drama. We see a lot of things that disappoint us as Christians. And I'm saying, okay, well, let's rebuild.
2015 to 2020, you went through your own deconstruction, if you will.
Sure.
What happened?
Yeah, I'm coming from this broken family. I thought when I met Jesus, I was going to walk into this like healthy, perfect family. I didn't know it was, oh, these are more broken people. And I blamed God because I was like, well, why did you do this to me? You know, I'm being hurt by your people. And, you know, I was disoriented. And so it took time for God to show me, these are broken people that I love just like you. And they don't always have it together. Neither do you. And God helped me to see that, and it reorientated me and it reconstructed me.
A lot of the pain dealt with racism and unheard voices and not speaking out.
That's right.
Have things gotten better?
I think I wasn't prepared for people to push back on me so hard and to say, stop being political. And I was like, I'm not being political, I'm being biblical. Yeah. I'm just caring for the poor. I'm caring for the disenfranchised. This is all the marginalized. This is the people on the fringes that God cares about. And I think that's where the disappointment lied. And I have seen that politics and faith have gotten married in ways that I know God did not intend.
How are you feeling about what you're seeing play out in our world today, especially our country?
I think we've got to be reminded. There's nowhere in scripture where you're going to see Jesus say, hey, this nation has to do this. There's everywhere in scripture where it says, in that nation, my church has to do this. So what should we be looking like as a church? When everyone is fighting, we should be a picture of love. When everyone is at odds, we should be a picture of how to relieve that tension. And so, yes, there's chaos and there will be, but God has his people. And I feel like we need to hold tight to his truth and to represent.
Some good stuff, man. Some good stuff. Just to be transparent with you all, I like it when Lecrae stay away from politics. Because I get it. He don't want to ruffle feathers. So it's easy when it's standing up for injustice. But it's not easy when the other side is wrong. And now, as a Christian, you have to stand up for the side that's right. But now you sitting over there with the Republicans. I think it gets a little difficult for Lecrae when he's put in those type of situations. So I like when he stay away from politics. Also, too, I know y'all see me fast forward a little bit. I don't want to. I'm trying to stay away from the music when they play music because they keep copyrighting my videos, man. So I gotta stay away from the music as much as possible. Are they gonna copyright strike your boy? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I fast forwarded through the music parts. But going back to what Lecrae was saying, outside of the politic stuff he was talking about, because we differ a little bit when it come down to that, when it come down to our thought process, when it has to do with that. I agree with what he was saying in regards to reconstruction in the church. We're in a place right now where a lot of the old school, techniques and tools that we seen in the church growing up, things are different and people are in their word a lot more now. And it's important to display love. It's important to speak about correction and tell the truth. That's important. But we can't let the church continue. And I'm talking about churches like the church I grew up in, and I'm sure Lecrae grew up in. We cannot continue to let that display what Christ looked like. Telling people you're going to go to hell for this and you're going to go to hell for that, and you better take those earrings out your ear, you're going to go to hell, or you better stop getting those tattoos or you're going to go to hell. And I'm not saying that some of the stuff that we was told growing up wasn't true. I'm not saying that. And don't let me leave out the beatings that when it says don't spare the rod, we got those beatings, which a lot of our grandparents and even some parents don't really understand what that scripture really mean. It don't mean literally don't spare the rod. It's basically saying when you are chastising your child, make sure that you discipline them the way they need to be disciplined. So I believe a lot of this stuff was taken literally instead of understanding that that right there in the Bible is basically a metaphor to let you know that God is really trying to get your attention, and he mean business. It don't mean literally go get a brick and start beating them with it, so and look, I understand I'm going deep with it when it comes down to reconstruction in the church. That's what I'm saying. Me and Lecrae, we on the same page when it comes down to things like that, because of, I'm sure, the church that we come from, right? I ran from the faith growing up. I ran from it because I was like, oh, if it looked like that, I don't see nothing that have to do with love. I don't see nothing that have to do with kindness, humility. I don't see nothing that have to do with any fruits of the spirit. I didn't even know what the fruits of the spirit were. I didn't even know what that was growing up. You know what I'm saying? We didn't talk about the fruits of the spirit. We was just told, you bet not do this, you bet not do that. And if you do this, you're going to get beat. If you do that, you're going to go to hell. That's all we were told growing up. So we seeing the shift and the change in a lot of churches now, but we got to continue to push that. Because in a lot of black churches, those same tools, techniques, and points are still being utilized, and we got to totally distance ourselves from that, because it's not right. And I think we'll start to see a lot more younger people coming towards the faith. Now I get it. Some people just don't do well with any type of correction. Some people just don't want to change. Some people just want to stay out living in the world and do what they want to do, how they want to do it. I understand that. But there are a lot of people who just don't understand this well, who think that the church is just based and built off of judgment. You know, in some people's eyes, hate and force, which that isn't of God. And if you're going to a church or been to a church like that, it wasn't right. So we have to reconstruct the church to let the young people who are more curious about the faith, but just don't like some of the things that they heard and have seen. We got to let them know that, no, when it comes down to the faith, God lead with love. And if you're around someone who say they're a Christian and is not leading with love and showing all of those tools and even correcting with love, then I would question their faith. And I would say stay away from that individual, because it's something missing in them. You get what I'm saying? So, hey, shout out to LaCrae, man. Shout out to LaCrae, man. I'm with you, man, and you know, congrats on the album. He doing his thing on tour. Like I said before, I like LaCrae, and I'm always gonna support LaCrae. I think he's doing great things. I'm gonna tell the truth, though. I'm gonna always tell the truth, but I think that he's a really good dude at the end of the day. He's a really good dude, you know, in a real, true man of God.
I had to show him that I wasn't made.